Good morning. As I ring our Tibetan bowl this morning to welcome everyone in, I invite you to allow the vibration to calm your heart and your mind and your nerves, perhaps too.
This is I Got the Sun in the Morning from Annie Get Your Gun.
Well, good morning again, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of the Chester River. I am Kim Agee. I always forget to introduce myself when I'm up here, so I did today. And I will be your service leader today. Thank you for allowing me. We come together here to explore our unique spiritual journeys and to learn from each other. I hope that you will find words of wisdom and supportive friends here today. Welcome all of you here in the sanctuary, friends, members, and visitors, and welcome all of you on Zoom as well. Welcome Michael Casey. Thank you so much for sharing your music with us, and welcome to our chorus this morning, who will also be sharing some special music. And of course, welcome Reverend Catherine. So glad to have you with us. And she is bringing her sermon this morning entitled Joy Comes in the Morning. I have one announcement, and that is that our new directory of members is in the foyer on our table in there. And so you are welcome to take one. It looks really good. Lots of photos in there. Looks great. I have some opening words this morning to help us focus on love as our center of Unitarian Universalism. And these words are by Reverend Nabi Janamanchi. Unitarian Universalism, with its emphasis on love as the central guiding force, provides us a spiritual home for those who seek to live out values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and interconnectedness. When we affirm that love is at the center, we embrace our highest calling, to live in a way that honors and reflects divine love. Love guides us in our relationships, actions, and commitments, reminding us that despite our failings, we will make it through because we are not alone. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of love as a transformative power, saying, "Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. This is not an easy love." It is not. It is a love that demands action, reconciliation, and courage. It is the love that compels us to build the beloved community, a world where all are seen, valued, and embraced. Amen. And now let us share in our chalice lighting. The words are in your order of service. May the search for truth be with us always. We light this chalice for love. May the love for others be strong in our hearts. And now let's open the morning with hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Welcome. It's great to see so many new faces as we're celebrating this holiday today. So those who I had an honor of leading a service or two with have known I tend to do some things that may be different. And I invite the community to play a little with me. So we're going to do that today too. I'm going to introduce the community ritual that is grounded in joy. We are using a monthly theme of our Soul Matters themes, and this month's theme is joy. And for those who are with us today and weren't here when I was with you last time, we discussed the 8 pillars of joy as the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu had spoke of. And they will play again a part in our service today. So our service leader, Kim, is going to be passing a basket. And as the basket comes around, there are stones in it. There is a word on the stones. Now I'm going to need you to ask you to help me here. Do not read the words. Reach in, grab a stone, whatever one you get is the one you get. Let's see what comes. Okay? This will go very slowly if everyone reads the stone. If we just take a stone and pass, not only will it go faster, but the ritual will work better. Kim?
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
They're varying sizes, so let's see. Can we read it after we take it?
Yes. Once you have taken your stone and resisted the temptation, please do read your word. On each one will be one of the 8 pillars of joy. And if the pillar that you get in your hand resonates with you, fantastic. You found your stone. And if the pillar is a growing edge and something that maybe having a tangible reminder that that's something we need to work on is helpful, then great, you found your stone. However, if the pillar in your hand, it just doesn't resonate with you in either a positive or a gee, that would be helpful to remind me sense, then that's okay. What that means is you found someone else's stone. And I'm going to invite you to move around a little and think, okay, who needs this stone? And offer it to them. And so that'll be our fun and play part, right? And so now I'm not going to let that go for it. We'll have a little bit of time to do that. And then I'll ring the bowl to invite us to return to our seats, and we'll continue. And Michael, if you could play some soft music as we get to the picking of stones and walking around, that would be fabulous. So I believe everybody who wants one has a stone. Have you had a chance to look at your word? And does it speak? And now is your point for decision. Does this speak to you? Is this your stone? Or is there someone you know? And the good part is, if you're a visitor today, you came with other people you know, right? So is there someone you know who needs that word and that you'd like to share with them and then possibly trade? So this is our move around time. I noticed the moving around had stopped and there was lots of joyful conversation that was also starting to fade, so it was time. Thank you all. May the 8 pillars of joy lead us to spiritual practices that enrich our lives, relationships, resilience, and bring us joy. Now Kim will return and invite us into our acknowledgements for the heart.
And now, this is the time we share our joys and concerns. Please feel welcome to come forward and share something that's on your heart. As you come forward, I'll light a candle for each and put it in our container. And I'll also offer you the microphone. I often like to start all of us do, start our joys and concerns with something sort of universal. This one is personal and universal, I think. It just struck me, but I drew it's so funny. I drew the rock forgiveness, and I'm keeping that because we're in this tumultuous time, very, angered differences. And one of the places that we see a lot of that is on social media. And I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can, but I have a couple of people, family, friends who can be very vocal on social media. And I usually don't engage, but a couple very hurtful things have come up recently. And so I've removed those people from my social media, which feels a little like not forgiveness. So I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to sit with that. There are a lot of people in the world that I probably need to offer forgiveness with, and that love that the reading talked about, where you're loving someone that is really causing you pain, and that's the way through. But so I offer that as maybe for all of us in this really tumultuous time, to keep it on our hearts. So please come forward.
This morning I read in The Guardian, they reported on a insurance advisor, a leader of the industry, that climate change is a risk to the future of capitalism. And I found that to be, one, a terrible concern, but also a joy in a way that it's being reported, because my stone was perspective. And until we get the perspective that there are economic challenges and benefits and risks having to do with climate change and its mitigation, we're just not going to move forward on it. And so I found it to be joyful to me that they were reporting on this from that particular industry. And I'll speak a little bit more about that in a discussion that we'll have after lunch next Sunday. Thank you.
This is a joy for all the April birthdays. We have Amy, we have Sally, we have Connie, we have Jim, and who do I miss? Eileen, and my cousin Buzzy.
Today's my birthday.
It's not on the list. You have to tell Darlene what your birthday is, and she'll list it. I know all of these because they're listed.
Okay.
And they're, what?
It's good to add more.
We need to add more, yeah. But Amy's number one. But Mr. Lavin is my favorite.
Okay, so another April birthday is my brother-in-law Murray, who's turning 82 today. And I've spoken about him before. He's had lymphoma for a couple of years now. This morning, Rob and his other brother Steve flew down to Texas, where Murray and his wife Donna, my sister-in-law, lives. And they're going to be there all week. And they're going to be hanging out together and spending some time, the three brothers that are remaining in the family. So I'm just thinking about them. The lymphoma seems like it's kind of on hold right now. So I think Rob will come back with some more information that we don't always get because they're in San Antonio. So we don't always get this information. So I'm keeping Murray best, favorite, not favorite, but just a very dear man, my oldest brother-in-law, in my heart today on his 82nd birthday.
Thank you. I want to say happy birthday to everybody who's here. And I want to thank all of the folks who showed up yesterday morning, crawling around for at least 2 hours, maybe more, developing blisters, possibly. Please notice how weedless this front of the church is. We had a lot of fun doing it, but it was hard work. So thank you to everybody who showed up.
Good morning. I would like to light a candle in remembrance of Robert Earl Price. Robert Earl passed on this week. He was a fascinating man, a poet and playwright. I had the wonderful opportunity to work with him and Pam Ortiz on the musical Red Devil Moon, which we produced and took to New York to the Orange Festival. He will be, I remember when he first came to town, and he thought this was this podunk place. He's from LA and Atlanta. He was convinced he would never be here for long, but he ended up staying until the end of his life.
It's a lovely place. Do you want me to bring it to you? Or you want to come forward?
My first joy is a small joy. I made it up here without my cane. So it's a big step for me. You know, yesterday, my kids, my family, my grandkids, everybody threw me the best birthday party of my life. There were over 30 people there. Every single member of my family, all my 6 kids were there. My 7 grandchildren were there. My stepson and stepdaughter were there. Of course, my wife was there. She's always there with me. And they had a party for me up at the Granary. That afternoon, we had a luncheon, I guess you should call that. And had a great time there. And a lot of nice things. I had a TV going with showing pictures of me all back through the years, back when I had hair, as a matter of fact. Yeah, well, that's a long time ago. And then we went back to a home, a large, big home in Crumpton. Some of you may know it's a big, beautiful mansion. And that's where we have our cake and my coffee and so forth for the celebration. But it's really a wonderful day, and I'm so appreciative that I have such a loving and caring family. I hope I haven't missed anybody. Oh, my stepdaughter was there. I meant she's out here someplace too, and got my gang here all along. So the collection plate should be a lot bigger today.
That was wonderful. I'm John. My wife Charlotte's here. I just want to say something about Easter morning. 31 years ago, my wife and I were staying at her cousin's. We were dating at the time. You know, she's hiding her face. And we stayed at her cousin's in Crofton, Maryland. And Easter morning, we woke up on this sleep sofa thing with, my back was aching. And I woke up and my eyes were bright. The sun was coming in. And I leaned over to Charlotte and I said, I know this is Jesus' big day, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but will you marry me? And she did. And yesterday she went out protesting in downtown Centerville with the gang and had a wonderful time. And speaking just a little word about Jesus, back in his lifetime, his message was preaching love, sisterhood, and brotherhood, and mother and father is God. And when I look at you all, I see you as sisters and brothers, and his message is still working today. Hey, hey.
Thank you.
My joy has been getting to be here for the past couple days and celebrating my dear grandfather's 90th birthday, because there's so much to celebrate with him. And so it's been such a wonderful couple of days getting to lean into all the good that is GP Jim Lavin.
Well, for all those spoken and unspoken joys and concerns, let's have a moment of silence. Blessed be. Now, we have some lovely music from our chorus, and from our choir, sorry, from our choir. Please come forward and enjoy this. As I get ready to pass our baskets around this morning, I want to appreciate all the gifts that our community shares, besides our financial gifts. Time and food and gardening, flowers, our beautiful flowers. I can smell those lilacs all the way over here. I'm hoping you can smell them out there. And many expertise. Thank you all for always sharing these gifts with us. Let us now also share a financial offering to support the good works of our community.
This is I Know That My Redeemer Liveth by Handel.
Thank you all. And now Reverend Catherine will be joining us in the pulpit.
Happy Easter. Around the world, our Christian siblings are attending church today with calls to rejoice, to celebrate that Jesus has risen from the dead, often with the phrase, "He is risen indeed." And this is a joyful celebration. The early Jesus movement, they still considered themselves Jewish and followers of Jesus, was in chaos after the arrest, torture, and state-sanctioned murder of Jesus. Many living in fear of Roman persecution. And in fact, that's what the cross was meant to do and had done for hundreds of years. From a Roman perspective, it was to terrify a populace of occupied people into compliance. That's what it was. Jesus' love and the continuation of his ministry beyond the cross demonstrated that power can't really make us do anything. Anyone have ever been with a 2-year-old? You may have all the power in the room, and that child is not doing what they don't want to do, right? Love wins, and joy comes in the morning. Jesus was a Jewish religious leader whose ministry was not grounded in the educated and powerful classes. He ministered and taught to the people not in accordance with the political leadership of Rome. He called the people together, and he taught about their interdependence and their responsibilities to each other, their power and their agency, and how we are all fallible. He especially centered the most marginalized. So when we read the scripts that talk about treat someone like a tax collector, the next thought I'm going to invite everyone to have is say, and how did Jesus treat the tax collector? He invited him to dinner, right? There is a range of beliefs about Jesus and what we are called to rejoice today. So if you are celebrating that Jesus rose from the dead, I am grateful to celebrate with you. Welcome. And if you are celebrating that the Jesus movement found the courage and the inspiration to continue spreading the wonderful ministry of that good news, invite the tax collector to dinner, then I'm grateful to celebrate with you today. And if you're celebrating something broader or more grounded in human experience that may best be described as love conquering greed, fear, and hate, and I'm also grateful to celebrate with you today. Additionally, this Sunday is closest to Earth Day, and I just spent a week on a farm. I held literally newborn baby goats. They were born about 2 hours before we got to hold them. I was surrounded by the beauty of nature and watched spring burst forth. And that was just as powerful of a call to celebrate to my soul as he is risen indeed. One origin of the term Easter is attributed originally to a pagan feast day, Ostera. Ostera on the modern Wiccan wheel of the year is celebrated on spring equinox. May 1st is Beltane, and summer solstice is Letha. Our ancestors knew we needed each other, and we need to gather. And they were separated by distance because, farming, distance. Yet they set their wheel of the year so we gather every 6 weeks. That's no mistake. Our community does this with regular potlucks every 4 weeks. We're considering chalice groups to explore deep religious topics. And starting next congregational year, we need to gather. And when we do, it is a source of joy. The meaning of Easter is deeply and intimately connected to the earth and spring, fertility, warming days. The earth rests through winter and stores and shifts energy and prepares those building blocks so that the whole earth is ready to burst forth in spring. And the earth gives us that miracle every year. We can also approach the meaning of Easter linguistically. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica and Christianity Today, the name from the holiday may also come from a Christian designation of Easter week as in albis, or in whites, which some have also said may be dawn, or the plural of dawn, which became associated with Osterum in High German, which does mean dawn, and as a possible precursor to the German and English term Easter. And what I find fascinating is another variant of the name of the month April was Oestermonth, where month meant moon in our ancient English history. And it's also interesting to note that languages can offer different connections, since the Latin and Greek Pascha, or Passover, provides the root for Pasques, which is the feast that Jesus was celebrating in Jerusalem before the Romans came and captured him. So now that I've gone through all this, does that sound like a lot of ways to approach a single holiday? Right? And that is what I want to celebrate with you today. This wonderfully complex holiday that is mirrored in the seasons of our earth, our language, our religious traditions, and more. It has powerful history, and it is a powerful call for transformation, interdependence, and honoring our agency. All of these approaches teach the essential truth that no period of hardship, suffering, or loss lasts forever. Every day is a gift, and joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning if you are a religious leader. If the religious leader you followed was killed in state-sanctioned violence, and his ministry of love, equality, and centering the marginalized continues because love is in the center of our human existence. Joy comes in the morning when the earth renews itself with trees and buds, and food grows, and we can see new life everywhere. Bunnies, baby goats, flowers, and songbirds who are providing the best chorus I could ask for in this moment. We get to learn and be reminded each and every year through the seasons and the experiences of winter that new growth is possible. We also get reminded that new growth is not guaranteed. The young tree that doesn't make it through the winter, and some newborn animals don't survive. New growth is possible and not guaranteed. It invites us to revel in the warmth of the new growth and recognize that beautiful dance of life and death. And it is always joy in this moment. It is a gift. Applying that perspective to living our lives beyond the physical seasons or the earth, we have to do the work of wintering. And I use that term as inspired by author Catherine May for the work of taking stock in what actually present, what happened and why. Taking time to grieve what needs to be grieved, and this is important work. For Easter, this is the work of Good Friday and Holy Saturday. We don't tend to talk about those quite as much. And they're important because joy can't come in the morning without the work of wintering. Joy comes in the morning when we return to the flow of life around us and the spring of our own growth. For me, this connects back to that language origins of Easter. Remember I mentioned in albis, which means in the whites in Latin? A few minutes on the interwebs offered that another meaning was to be kept in the dark in Spanish. And I thought that was fascinating, and I thought about it for a minute. I'm not sure what the metronome is. There we are. A little curiosity was well rewarded. But when I thought about it, that makes sense, right? Dawn is the moment we transition from the dark and come into the light. And we need to honor both the healing and the preparatory darkness and that emergence into light. And dawn invites us to hold both. It invites us into that sacred yes and. For Easter, as most of us, that darkness can be the darkness of the womb, as author and activist Valerie Kaur invites, and the darkness that rests and allows us to build something that hasn't existed before. Through the work of wintering, it happens in the darkness, we rest and we connect through our winters and store and shift our energy and prepare building blocks. So we are ready to burst forth in our spring of new growth, of perspective, humility, humor. I love that we've been laughing so much today. Acceptance, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. These are the 8 pillars of joy offered by the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu that we used in our ritual, and you may be holding one of them in your hand. Today, in this joy of rejoicing and in this rejoicing and transformation, so many different meanings to so many different people, I want to invite us to make rejoicing and celebration in transformation part of our journey. Guided by Father Richard Rohr's new book, The Tears of Things, he offers the reading the Hebrew prophets and looking for this journey in their journeys as prophets. So not reading them just for what they say in this moment as chunks, but how they as a narrator, they as a storyteller, because the Hebrew prophets were people who left stories, right? How do they change as they tell their stories? As we start, we see them in anger and blaming individuals, and they grow through their wintering periods. Some of them are really hard and horrible wintering periods, and emerge with new growth. I find definite connections between their transformation and the pillars of joy, and I'll name a few. Perspective. As their perspective shifts, instead of calling out the evils of a king or the leader or the individual, towards the end of any of the books, they start talking more about the structural evils of the society that allowed that person to do the thing. Their perspective tends to shift throughout the entire story. Humility. Each prophet goes through their own periods of wintering and learn humility. Acceptance. Almost none of them say, "Oh, this is the best thing ever. I want to do this." There's a period of resistance and eventual acceptance to what is, both in their calling as a prophet and what they're being called to resist. And compassion. That anger that we hear in their first books tends to fade into compassion, with the prophets crying for the people of ancient Israel, or Jesus offering his prayer of compassion. "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And we can apply this cycle to ourselves. Each morning can be a joyful start, growth from the wintering and rest of night. As we started our service with Morning is Broken. Thank you, Kim. That's a beautiful song. I wonder, what would it feel like to greet each morning like the first morning in celebration of all? I think it'd be powerful. And I want to be clear, is the mic starting to fade? Okay, I want to be clear, this is authentic joy, not gaslighting. Not everything is terrible and I'm going to say it's good. That's not healthy. We don't advocate for that. This is what fueled and sustained movements for justice and always has. AIDS activist Dan Savage offered that during the darkest days of the AIDS crisis, there was no cure, there was no hope in sight. Quote, "We buried friends in the morning, protested in the afternoon, and danced all night. The dance kept us in the fight because it was the dance we were fighting for." That's the joy. Joy is powerful. Our ancestors knew this, and those who wish to oppress us, they know it too. I was overjoyed when Nancy suggested the Irish blessing for our choir today, and that was truly beautiful. Thank you, choir. See, I grew up singing that song in our congregation. My home congregation was St. Patrick's. In my home, it was a blessing, it was part of our wall art, and it's still in my home. I don't know I would have chosen it for fear of putting it on another group, so when you chose it, that's even better. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rain fall softly on your fields. And until we meet again, may the God who loves us all hold you in the palm of his hand. What a beautiful blessing. My mother and I use this Irish blessing similar to how we have practiced a loving kindness meditation in the congregation. And it was long before I had ever heard of a loving kindness meditation. And I honestly have no idea where my mother got that idea. We sought to bless ourselves, our family, and those we loved, and then someone we were struggling to be in healthy relationship with. Now, that did not mean we maintained the relationship. But if I can wish you well in whatever you do, if it's not a healthy relationship, it's okay to release it. But holding on to unforgiveness, that only hurts me. That's like taking rat poison and waiting for someone else to get sick. That doesn't help, right? I wish we had thought to open it up to everyone in the universe, but that would come to me later in spiritual life. And I found when we went through that blessing, all the way through the blessings, joy came in the morning. My perspective grew, and I felt more connected to the people around me. These connections make this part of what I consider to be Unitarian Universalist theology. Big concepts that are expressed across multiple religions and cultures in different ways, but it's the core concept, spoken in a culture and in a way that's unique. Joy comes in the morning. When we do the work of traveling through grief and loss and accept what is in this moment. And what is in this moment is I am alive and you are here. Each breath is a gift, and I have a responsibility to use it to do good for others, to live with love at the center, and to bring the values of justice, equity, transformation, interdependence, generosity, and pluralism into the world. And so in the spirit of joy and interdependence, please rise in body or spirit and join our voices in hymn 1064, Blue Boat Home. It's in our teal hymnal.
Okay, I'll cue you guys in.
When I go off script, we're also away from the podium. So it's time for our discussion.
Anyone?
We can talk about rocks.
Thank you. My rock says acceptance. And it's very coincidental that this morning, when I was taking a shower, I said to myself, right now, nothing is going wrong. And it was really, I thought to myself, I should do this more often. I should think that way more often, because I find accepting things, getting older, et cetera, really difficult. So staying in the moment is a good reminder to be able to accept things. So thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Just want to show appreciation for all the different ways that you spoke about Jesus this morning, and how we all come from our background about different backgrounds about what we believed about Jesus. Maybe things have changed, but we can, accept him as prophet, as teacher, as rebellious, as troublemaker, as Son of God. So, it's something that as Unitarian Universalists, we, at least for me, I'll speak, I've had to grow in my, where he is in my life, and his, and where he has, I don't know, I think that thought is over. So thank you. I think I'm done.
I didn't ask us to get to the destination, just join us on the journey, right?
Yeah, right, okay.
80% of us are UUs are come-inners. Most of us come with some form of a prior religious heritage. Not everyone, right? And if we go back in our Unitarian Universalist history, MQ's not able to join us today. I wish she was, because she recently mentioned the really famous sermon. Like, there's about 5 sermons every UU minister must read in theological education. One of them happened in Baltimore, and that was where William Ellery Channing came out and said, actually, we are Unitarians, and we believe Jesus was many things, and maybe not divine, but we're still Christian. And that was when we kind of declared. Obviously, it was not a single event. No one point or great man of history ever is, right? But that was a defining moment. And our ancestors, in our tradition, were very, very Christian. Part of our training, I got to be in our old archives, and our old publications were phenomenally Christian. And so it's been an evolution that we've evolved to be more inclusive, but being more inclusive without being exclusive is, I think, the journey that we're really called to do. We're called to pluralism, right?
So the sermon was beautiful. I've been thinking this last week that spring is here to remind us that no matter how bad the winter is, we'll always still rise. And so, like, the global perspective of what's happening, right? But the other thing I want to say is I got the same rock that said acceptance. And acceptance to me has always been like, accept that what is not great, and you can accept that. But for today, the acceptance meant to accept the love of the universe, to accept that you're loved and that you are here to receive joy as well.
Thank you, Deb. And when you hit those moments of accept what is and is not great, what I also find helpful to remember is that's also where change can start, right? While I'm still railing about what I want it to be instead of what is, I'm an ineffective change agent. Can't change it until I accept what is. I may not like it. And if I don't like it, then that brings us back to my last sermon with y'all. If I don't like it and it's causing me stress, then I can either do something about it or let it go. Stewing helps nobody, right?
liked what you said about the work of wintering in everything in life, and the joy of getting there is so often dependent upon what we've put into the work of wintering and how rich that time is.
I would just like to say that to expand or shift maybe the joy in the morning, it's something I think we should look at with every situation that we encounter. Not every situation is going to be joyful, but every situation gives us an opportunity to engage in joyful behavior. Fighting and protesting against bad things recognizes the bad things, but it brings joy to our hearts.
It brings joy that I'm not alone, right? Is there anything else? So as we will proceed to our closing chalice, I didn't have our closing words on there, but in honor of all that has been shared today, I invite us to go forth with our calm and open hearts, make peace and grow in wholeness, give of our light and live in integrity and reciprocity with the spirit of life within ourselves and all living things, being fully present to each moment of this one wild, wonderful life.
And now, let us extinguish the chalice. We have new words this morning for extinguishing the chalice, so if you'll refer to your order of service. Our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us, so that we can serve with love, cultivate compassion, live humbly in community, and confront despair with the awe of life. Our faith, like a light, illuminates joy in the morning. Through our flame is extinguished, our faith shines bright before us. And now our song benediction. Oh, right. Nancy wants to share something with us. Is she going to share it in the community time? No, okay. So please join us for coffee and more conversation, and go in peace into the day.
This is Jesu joy of man desiring.